up your YouTube, search for Stukeley Meadows, watch on your big screen.
Or another device if you're at home.
Get yourself comfy, this could take a while. What a happy scene. Something new every day for your long-term memory. This is so exciting, it is nearly time for a Stukeley assembly. Good morning or good afternoon everybody, and welcome to Wednesday. I'm in the garage, the jacket's on, it's got to be a reading assembly. For each other we, every day we, to improve we, together we will. Every single Stukeley day we focus on. Our Stukeley motto is, our Stukeley curriculum is, our Stukeley plan for home learning is. 4 words that make the magic happen. Yes, they do. Hello everyone, we're back on our Wednesday reading assemblies. We've only got 7 of these left, and this is the first one. I was going to start off with a Dahl, Dickens and a random question about chickens quiz, but I'm not going to. I've got a different type of reading retrieval to start off with. Okay, so I've got a book for today. It's probably going to last us the next 2 or 3, maybe 3 or 4 weeks. But here's the twist. I have read it to you before. It's a book that we've read in the last year. It's a reading assembly book. Actually, I'm going to say in the last 2 years, because I think I might have read this when we were all in the school hall together. So, first of all, I want you, in your class, pause the video. Can you try and make a list of all the books that we've ever done in reading assemblies? And you need to try and remember books that we've done in remote assemblies like this, and if you were lucky enough to come into the hall, because not everybody did, if you were lucky enough to come into the hall when we used to have our reading circle, just pause the video, make a list of every book you can remember that we've read. Go. Right, now I can reveal that the book that we're going to be reading again is Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. Now, why did I choose this one? I chose it, I think it was the first Charles Dickens book we ever did in a reading assembly, I think. Also, it's one of my favourite Dickens books. I read it when I was in year 8 or 9, when I was in secondary school. I really enjoyed it when we read it the first time round. It's definitely got some frightening bits in it. It's definitely got some bits, you know, that get your heart beating fast. Anyway, next bit of retrieval. Now, this is only for children who came into the hall to listen to this, because I remember reading it in the hall over about 5 or 6 weeks. And do you remember I used to put the pictures up on the screen at the back? Do you remember? Oh, I loved it. Those were the days. Anyway, if you used to come and listen to this in the hall, pause the video, 2 minutes as a class, and I'll ask the adults to organise this. I want you to try and remember as much as you can about Great Expectations. Can you, I'd love it if you can just remember a tiny bit, just a little bit. Can you remember any of the characters? The angry characters, the scary characters, the mystery characters, the main characters, the child characters, the adult characters. Can you remember them? And also, can you remember what happened? Pause the video. If you've got a chance for this, off you go. Right, okay, good work everyone. Right, we are now going to start off again. Some of you might be a bit, oh, I don't like reading books I've read already. There's something brilliant about hearing stories for the second time. because it brings back memories of the first time you heard it, and it creates better, stronger memories. Trust me, this is a great story. Right, Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. Oh, hang on. Let's have a quick reminder about what we know about Charles Dickens. Check this out. That's it. We're an expert. We're a Dickens expert. Here we go. Oh, remember, this is an abridged version. This isn't the actual book that Charles Dickens wrote. This is a thin version, a short version. A little bundle of shivers called Pip stood in front of his parents' gravestones. That means they're both dead. He was afraid and crying. The savage wind howling across the unfriendly marshes threw the dark mist at him, making him cry even louder. "Hold your noise!" roared a terrible voice. A man appeared between the graves and put his hand over Pip's mouth. "Keep still, you little devil, or I'll cut your throat." He was a large man in rough grey clothes. On one leg was a prisoner's heavy leg iron. He has escaped from somewhere, which made him limp. He wore an old rag around his head and his shoes were broken. He was soaked, smothered in mud, stung, torn and cut. He shivered and glared at Pip, then growled, "Tell us your name, quick! Show us where you live, you young dog!" He tipped the terrified Pip upside down to empty his pockets, making it impossible for Pip to work out where he did live. "What fat cheeks you got," he told Pip's upside down face. "Oh, darn me, I wish I could eat them." He turned Pip back onto his feet. "Tomorrow you get me a file to cut off this leg iron and some food, or I'll have your heart and liver for my breakfast. And you do it secretly, or I'll creep into your home when you're all comfy and safe and warm in bed, and I'll tear you to bits." His great hands finally released Pip, and not looking back once, Pip ran all the way home without stopping. Now, Pip must have been absolutely terrified. He's out on his own in the dark, in the dusk, and he's just been attacked by this man who's escaped from somewhere. And this man has said, "Do these things for me, basically, or I'm going to kill you." For the rest of that evening, Pip felt terrified. At supper time, he managed to sneak some bread and cheese into his lap without anyone noticing. After supper, he crept into the kitchen and gathered together half a jar of mincemeat, an old bone with a little meat still on it, and some brandy. Then he noticed a whole perfect pork pie on the shelf, and he took that too. Finally, still unnoticed, he crept into the workshop and found a file. Very early the next damp, dreary, misty morning, Pip set off across the marshes. The wind lashed at him and the mist made it hard to see. As he ran, stumbling, he imagined he was being chased by a horde of people shouting, "Stop, thief! Stop that boy! He stole the perfect pork pie!" Now remember, Pip, there aren't people shouting at Pip. He's so scared, he thinks there might be people shouting at him. He's on his own, he's running to take this person, this prisoner, the things that he's asked for. Little Pip was panting and trembling when the shape of the man loomed out of the mist ahead. Though he still looked a frightening and scary sight, the man now looked very weak from hunger and cold. Pip thought he was going to drop down dead in front of him, but he grabbed the bag of food and started ripping it to bits, desperate and also grateful. He ate the whole pork pie greedily and washed it down with a great gulp of brandy. "I'm Magwitch," he belched as he began to file through the leg iron. So this is what he wanted the file for. He wanted this tool to try and get this big iron off his leg. "I'm Pip," replied Pip. I'm glad you enjoyed the food." "Thank you, my boy. I did. Happy Christmas." So we've just found out this is all happening on Christmas time, Christmas Day. Now we move on to the next part of the story. So that those of you that didn't know, that's a file. That's what Magwitch is using to try and get the big iron off of his leg, the chains off his leg. Next part of the story. When he was very young, Philip Pirrip hadn't been able to get his mouth around his real name, Philip Pirrip. The best he could say was Pip, and ever since then, everyone just called him Pip. After his parents had died, Pip lived with his good-natured and sweet-tempered uncle, Joe Gargery, who was the village blacksmith. Joe had the misfortune of being married to Pip's older sister, the ill-natured, bad-tempered Mrs. Joe. "Oh, we're ever the best of friends, aren't we, Pip, old chap?" smiled Joe as he and Pip warmed themselves by the fire. "Where have you been so early in the morning? You'll do yourself a mischief." Mrs. Joe was not so friendly to Pip. "You should be more grateful to your sister, who's brought you up by hand," she scowled, angrily storming into the room. "I don't know why I said I'd look after you. It's a hard, thankless job, going out in the cold and damp on Christmas morning. You should be more grateful, Pip." Pip tried very hard to look grateful, but it didn't change his sister's mood. "Did you hear the gun sound last night, Pip, old chap?" asked Joe. Sorry. Did you hear the gun sound last night, Pip, old chap?" asked Joe. "Sorry. It means a prisoner's escaped from the prison ships. An escaped convict is out there somewhere, old chap. It's dangerous for you to go out." Have you worked out that they're talking about somebody that's escaped, and this is who Pip met, but they don't know. Pip thought of the man in the leg iron who was so hungry and cold. Who is it that's escaped?" said Pip. "Is it who's in those ships? What is it that they've done wrong?" This made Mrs. Joe even more angry. "I didn't bring you up by hand just so you could bother me with questions. They're there because they murder, and they rob, and they cheat people, and because they ask too many questions. You should be more grateful to your sister, who brought you up by her..." Her anger was cut short by a firm knock at the door. Pip held his breath. Mrs. Joe went into the kitchen, and Joe opened the door to a group of soldiers. Pip gulped. He trembled. He knew that the soldiers had come to get him, the ungrateful boy who stole pork pies and asked too many questions. Mrs. Joe ran in from the kitchen. "My pork pie's gone!" she screamed. It suddenly crossed Pip's mind that he might be safer if the soldiers took him away with his sister in this terrible mood. The soldiers searched and questioned. They put all the evidence together, and the soldiers' captain grandly announced, "It seems the escaped convict has been here and stolen your pork pie." They asked Joe and Pip to help them search the marshes for the dangerous convict and the missing pork pie. In the cold morning light, the search party easily found Magwitch hiding in a ditch. In all the splashing and the swearing of the struggle, Magwitch did not look at Pip. "I nearly died last night," he shouted, "if it hadn't have been for that pork pie." Pip held his breath, scared that he would get caught out. "Stole it from the blacksmith's house. I'd be a dead man. Stealing that pork pie saved my life." Magwitch had just lied to protect Pip. As Magwitch was led away, Pip felt his own life had been saved by the convict's lie. Joe put a warm arm round Pip's shoulders and led him home. Right, we're going to stop there. That's the beginning of Great Expectations. Now, if you were with me when we read it last year, a couple of years ago, I hope that was familiar to you. We've got a young boy called Pip. He's the main character in our story, just so you know. He's just met a convict, an escaped prisoner, who's probably murdered someone years ago, we don't know. And he's helped the convict. That convict has now been captured, but he's kept the secret safe that Pip helped him. Pip lives with his older sister, Mrs. Joe, who's a really horrible, angry woman. But his uncle, Joe, is a lovely, warm, strong man. We'll carry on with that next week, and I genuinely love that we're revisiting it. We're coming back to it. It's great. Okay, I know we have Cheer Boo Song or Silence now. I didn't get in the hall before Slimming World. Asked Mrs. Cooper, tried to get in there, couldn't get in. There was karate in there as well. I mean, couldn't get in there. Anyway, we're now going to watch another Cheer Boo Song or Silence from about a year ago. This is a great episode. Check it out. Will they get to cheer or will they get to boo? With either one there must not be violence. They may well get a song, but it will not last that long. We really hope they do not get silence. I know what you're waiting for. It's Cheer Boo Song or Silence. Behind that curtain is Mrs. Campbell. She's very excited about this moment because she knows her family are watching. But will she get a cheer, a boo, a song, or silence? We know that she works with Mrs. Clark up in year 6, and Mrs. Clark got silence. And she still hasn't spoken to me since. So, good luck, Mrs. Campbell. What do we think's going to happen? Is it going to be cheer, boo, song, or silence? Okay, let's find out. Out you! Whoa, Mrs. Campbell. You sneak back there. I know you've got a home to go to. Hang on. Out you come, Mrs. Campbell! Oh, what a start to assembly. Will they get to cheer or will they get to boo? With either one there must not be violence. They may well get a song, but it will not last that long. We really hope they do not get silence. Told you it was a good one. No birthdays today. We've got Stukeley birthdays tomorrow. Shout out though for Anna in year 3 who took part in a tennis tournament over half term. Not a Cambridgeshire tennis tournament. It was a tennis tournament that took place in another part of the country. That's how good Anna in year 3 is at tennis. She came second, lost in the final, played well, did brilliantly to get to the final. I've seen her medals and I hopefully put a photo of them on here. I think I can probably do that now, but before I do that, big shout out for George in the same class in year 3 who cycled 100 miles to raise money for the Piddly Rescue Team. I don't know much about that, but I'll get some more info. Here's a picture of both of them looking proud and fantastic. Great work, you two. I'm going to move, because we've taken quite a long time with that story, I'm going to move now straight into the most important 60 seconds. The most important 60 seconds are coming up now. The most
most important 60 seconds are coming up now.
Oh, I've had to take that reading jacket off, it's just too warm. Yesterday, most important 60 seconds was about fidget toys. There's only about 8 children in the whole school who've got permission to have them. They'll use them very quietly and discreetly. A little bit disappointed that a couple of boys in year 3 bought their own fidget toys into school. I know they hadn't had the big reminder yesterday, but they knew they shouldn't. Anyway, if your own fidget toys come into school, they will be removed from you because they're not part of the school deal. You know that. Anyway, today's most important 60 seconds are running out of time is, yesterday Mr. Jones came and collected all your playground boxes. He cleaned them all out, he threw away any broken bits, and him and I put more new bits in. So we've updated your boxes, you're very lucky to have them, look after the equipment. If anybody's got any other ideas for things to put in them, tell me. Look after those magazines too. Seen some children having a great time with them. Have a wonderful day.